What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to the Let's Build the U.S.S. Voyager Season 1, Episode 18. I'm Zero Elite, and I just want to thank you very much for tuning in today's episode. And if you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, helping me and supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. Today we're going to be picking up right where we left off from Episode 17, where we start to blend in our lower hull with our saucer. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it, because we've got about a 19-minute episode. So I talked about this in the tail end of episode 17, but going back and forth between our half slabs and full blocks, that's what's going to be more or less our template for the top portion of our lower hull, of the lower hull. So now what I'm doing, I'm adding another row, and we're going to be doing half slabs. You want to make sure that you're following your cut line. That's very important if you want everything to match up, but you don't have to do it. Do whatever works for you. But I don't know. I found that following my cut line is really helpful as far as giving me, not only keeping me on point, but helping me to guide me in the direction that I ultimately need to go in. So you can see we brought that all the way back. We're just following our concrete cut line for the white concrete. You might be looking at the back end of Voyager right now and realizing, well, where's the platform? I guess you call it a platform, but more or less it's just one big elongated pylon that sits on the back end of Voyager that connects to the shuttle bay. We haven't even built that yet, but we will get there. We kind of have to get the shape of our lower hull kind of wrapped up a little bit more before we can jump into that part of it. But that is going to be coming up fairly soon. But even then, even after we get it in, we're going to have to go back one or two times and shave down just the overall thickness of the lower hull to get it where it needs to be. But that's not looking too bad. I think that can work out pretty well, actually. You can kind of get an idea of how the blending is going to go from here. Hopefully you can start to see it visually, the pattern that I'm looking at. As I'm looking at our cut lines between the saucer, the neck, and the lower hull. That's why I say it's kind of like a puzzle, getting all this to blend in together. But our cut line, that's going to be the saving grace here that'll help us to go in the direction that we need to go into. And I just noticed here that my template is not matching up perfectly on the left and right. We're going to have to make a slight modification to that. That's why I always say it's so important to pay attention to your patterns. Because when you're following your patterns, it basically will tell you what you need to do if you're following your pattern. See what I did there? So that's our outline for our saucer. I just continued it on. I brought it in more because we're just trying to blend it in. This isn't hard what I'm doing. Anybody can do this if you're just paying attention to your pattern and what you have. So I always say that with building stuff on Minecraft, it's a marathon, not a sprint. If you sprint your way through it, it's not going to come out as good as if you took your time. And I could have just blown right through this and it would have come out, you know, like whatever. But now we're in a position to where I think our blending is going to look a lot better than what we would have had a moment ago if we didn't just make that change. So now after that last block of white concrete, then we're just going to do half slabs, and we're not doing anything fancy here, we're just following our cut line. I'm going to zoom out again, see how that looks. And that's not looking too bad, you know. We can get rid of this blue builder line, we don't need it anymore. So again, following our pattern. And I'll admit that my blending points for the lower hull, the backbone of the neck, and the saucer, it's not perfect, but it doesn't look bad. I'm actually, all things considered, I'm really happy with how this turned out. And I'm glad that I took the time to work out my pattern for the saucer, because more or less we're continuing that same pattern now to our lower hull. That's more or less what we're doing right now. And because we're doing that, it's going to make our blending between the two, it's going to come out so much better than if we hadn't done that. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Now this portion of it, I probably could have just done one side, but there are going to be some exclusions where where I do end up building out both sides, because that is something that I am trying to do with my tutorials with the redundant stuff, eliminating some of that stuff out. But anytime I feel that we might be getting into something that could end up being a little bit complicated, I'm just going to go ahead and build that stuff out for you guys so you can see it and do both sides to make sure that nobody has a mistake with it. Now, those of you that don't need both to watch me do both sides, you can just skip right past it, you know. But I'm trying to be conscious of stuff like that, and making a point to where I show what I need to show, and the stuff that I don't need to, we can kind of skip through that. Now, the reason I'm building out so much of this now and bringing it back is because this is also going to help me for my layering process of the lower hull. I'm just kind of getting that, basically we're lining up our whole template more or less right now. And it doesn't look like much now, but once we fill it in, you guys will see what I'm talking about here. And then what we can do, we can add a row of half slabs right there, see? And that's continuing on our whole outline. So we've got several layers that, believe it or not, we have just started our outline template for it. At this point, it's just filling it in row to row. The reason I'm not bringing it all the way back and I'm just doing a little bit at a time right now is because I'm not 110% that this is going to work going all the way down the base of the lower hull. So I'm just doing it in little spurts right now to kind of get an idea. You probably noticed that I've got a row of red concrete up there. We'll circle back to that. But what I've done now is I've skipped ahead to where I've fleshed in everything going up to the next cut line. And I'm doing that on the left and right side. It's not looking too bad. Kind of gives you an idea of where that's going to go. Now we're not doing anything fancy. We're just going to follow our cut line now and bring it back. I almost messed up there. Need to do another row of half slabs. That's why it's very important to pay attention to what you're doing. Because even if you're paying attention, you can still make a mistake. That's not looking bad. So alright. So I've done this on the right side, I'm going to do it on the left. I'm going off my very top row of white concrete, and I'm doing this in red, and I'm going with my cut line. Basically what I'm trying to do is get an idea of how this is ultimately going to look, the very top row. And I'm doing this in red because I'm not committing to it just yet. You can see that last row, I bring that all the way back until we get to the tip of our white concrete. So I go past the half slab. So it goes right up with this cut line here for the backbone. Alright, so now we're going with our cut line again. We're doing half slabs. We're going to bring this all the way back. And if I'm not mistaken, this is more or less kind of what we're going to end up with for the top of the lower hull, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, we are going to make some adjustments to it. Because I'm pretty sure, from what I remember when I was building Voyager out, is that I think I have to come back now and I have to adjust the template of the backbone to make it match up a little bit better with the template that we have for the top of our lower hull, with the cut line anyway. This is why I say that hold judgment until this thing is done. And if you want to critique the finished thing, you can check out my tour episode. But we're not there yet. We still have a bunch of steps that we need to complete before we even get there. So now we're going to do another row of half slabs going one up with the cut, and that's going to meet right with our row of red concrete. Eventually we will change out the color of that. But for right now, we're going to leave it. You see I'm only going 2 back because I'm following my cut line on that very last row. Actually, I could go 2 more, so it would follow the cut line perfectly. So now we're going to come back again with half slabs. We're going 1 up with the cut, so we're directly above 1 and in with our row of red concrete. Alright, that looks pretty good. We're going to hop over to the right side and repeat the same process. We've only got a couple more rows to do and then we're going to be in pretty good shape. Just like that, we've gotten a good chunk of the lower hull blended in with our saucer. Things are starting to finally come together a little bit more. Voyager's starting to look pretty good. We're slowly but surely getting where we need to be. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's going to do it for us today. We've got a little bit of work done this week on Voyager. Pretty happy with the progress that we're making, but we still have a lot left to do on this tutorial before we're going to call this thing done. But I think that's going to do it for me today. I just want to thank everybody again for tuning into today's episode, and if you did enjoy this content, help me out. Hit that like and subscribe button and helping me in supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. If you have any questions regarding today's episode, drop a comment below. Or if there's any builds that you want to see me do, definitely love hearing from everybody. You can also drop those build suggestions in Discord under the Suggestions tab. Bear in mind right now, I mostly need small build ideas. I've got 1,000,001 large builds that people want to see me do, and I need a bunch of ideas for small builds. So if there's any small builds that you guys can think of, let me know. Also, we've got some cool stuff coming up on the channel in the future. Once we hit 1,000 subscribers, we've got the Enterprise A. We've got the Enterprise A 2.0 tutorial. Once we hit 1,000 subscribers, we've also got Voyager Season 2, if you guys want it. Where we'll be getting into the interior on Voyager. Right now I have a poll going on my YouTube under Community tab. If you click on that, you can vote right now to let me know if you want to see that. We've also got the Excelsior 2 class that's going to be coming up, as well as the Enterprise D Season 2. I've also got the Outrider that should be coming out. Episode 1 should already be out at this point. And it's just going to be a 4-part miniseries, so hopefully you guys will enjoy that. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for me today. I just want to thank you all again for tuning in today's episode. I hope everybody has a happy and safe week, and I'll catch you in the next episode. And of course, what did you make in Minecraft today? Let me know in the comments section.